Good day, students. I'm Sylvia Naveed, your science teacher of class 5. Today our topic is matter, page number 62 from your science book 5. Students, this is a part 2 of this lesson. In this lesson we will learn about the process involving change in states like melting, evaporation, freezing, condensation and sublimation. And the topic number 2 which we will cover in this lesson is application of condensation and evaporation in water cycle. But before starting this lesson, we have to recall few of the points from part 1 of this lesson, and those few points are that point number 1, matter and its 3 states, arrangement of particles in solid, liquid and gas, effects of heat on solid, liquid and gas. Now we are going to start this lesson, and in this lesson first we will learn about the change of states Students, as you all know that heating and cooling can change a substance from one state to another, and we will learn about the process involving change in states like melting, evaporation, freezing, condensation and sublimation one by one. Here you can see that when we heat something or cool down something, it changes its state, and all the processes are given over here, that condensation, evaporation, melting, freezing, sublimation, these all are the process, and we will learn all the processes one by one. First of all, we will learn about melting. The first process is melting, and how it occurs. A solid changes into liquid when it is heated. This is called melting, students. As you can see in the picture on your screen, that ice is over there, and when we heat it, it comes into the form of liquid, means it changes its state. I repeat again, a solid changes into liquid when it is heated. This is called melting. For example, ice changes into water when you take it out of the freezer. Let's learn about the process of freezing that occurs in liquid to solid. What happens here? When liquid changes into a solid and when it is cooled, this is called freezing. For example, water changes into ice when it is kept for some time in the freezer. As you can observe in the picture, that water is there. When we cool it down, it becomes solid like ice. Next process is condensation. Let's learn about condensation. What happens here? Condensation only held in gases to liquids. What happened here? A gas changes into a liquid if it is cooled. This is called condensation. For example, if you put ice cubes into a glass of water and keep this glass at room temperature, you see tiny droplets on the outside surface of the glass. Students, where have these droplets come from? This is just because of condensation. Now let's learn about the next process, and the next process is evaporation. What happens in evaporation? Evaporation held only in liquids to gas. A liquid changes into a gas when it absorbs heat from its surroundings. As you can see in the picture, that ocean is there, water is there, and when it absorbs the heat of sun, the water becomes into water vapor. I repeat again, a liquid changes into a gas when it absorbs heat from its surroundings. This is called evaporation. For example, as the sun heats water in the ocean, the water in the ocean slowly disappears. It moves into the air as a gas called water vapor. This is how evaporation done. And the last process is a sublimation. And by observing the picture, you can clearly understand what happens in sublimation when a solid changes directly into a gas. When solid directly changes into gas without becoming a liquid first, the process is called sublimation. For example, from our daily life, we pick up any example from our daily life. You can see dry ice here. Dry ice is one of the most popular examples of sublimation in real life. As a solid from a carbon dioxide, dry ice creates a smoking effect that is commonly used in ice cream parlors today, students. You see dry ice on the ice creams now in the parlors. That is due to the sublimation. I hope, students, you clearly understand all the processes, which are melting, freezing, condensation, evaporation, sublimation. Now let's move to the next topic of this lesson, which is application of evaporation and condensation in water cycle. I'll describe you what is water cycle, and in the process of water cycle there are few of the processes happens there. We will discuss those. See, students, what happens in the water cycle. Before that, we will see what is water cycle. Water cycle is a reversible change in the states of matter. The state of matters reversible changes into water cycle. The diagram below explains the water cycle. The water on the earth is constantly moving. Students, you can see all the processes are moving constantly or continuously. It is recycled over and over again in the form of rain or dew, fog, mist, frost, hail or snow. It changes from rain to water vapor to clouds to rain again. Here, students, you can observe all the processes in evaporation. What happens first? Very first, the water collects. You can see collection here, that how water collects onto the ground. In the oceans, in the lakes, in the rivers, the water collect all over on the surface of earth. And when the sunshine heats up water and makes it evaporate, water becomes invisible in the form of water vapors. You can see in the picture, students, In the process of evaporation, the water collects into the clouds, and the water vapors rises up into the atmosphere, in the clouds or in the air. When water vapor reaches the colder upper layers of the atmosphere, it condenses. What happens there? You can see condensation on top of the picture. When water vapor reaches the colder upper layers of the atmosphere, it condenses to form droplets. These droplets group together and form clouds. And after condensation, what happens? It rains. You can see precipitation over there, and the meaning of precipitation is rain. When clouds move along the air currents, the droplets join together to form bigger drops. When they are heavy enough, they fall as rain. Rain and precipitation is the same thing. And again, when rain falls on the earth, it collects in streams and rivers. It flows down towards the sea. The water cycle begins again. See, students, this is a water cycle. And again the process starts. It evaporates due to the sunlight or any heat. Then it gather together in the form of clouds, and when clouds become heavy, they become as rain on the earth. So this is how the water cycle of all the processes are used in water cycle. See, I hope you clearly understand the concept of water cycle and all the processes. Now this is time to do the homework, students. And what is the homework? Answer the following questions. Question number 1 is, how many processes are there in changes of states? Name them. You have to name them. What are the processes? We repeated again and again in the lesson that what are the processes over there? Melting, freezing, condensation, evaporation, sublimation. These all are the processes, and you just have to name them in your copy. And question number 2 is, how water cycle is recycled in water cycle? As I explained you in the lesson, you can see again and again, you can repeat the lesson again, that how water is recycled in water cycle. Explain it in your copy. And note for the students is that you have to do your homework in your copy. And after resuming your classes, marks will be given on the basis of these home tasks and activities. My dear students, all the homeworks, whatever you have done in your copies, marks will be given on the basis of all the home tasks and activities. In end, I wish you all the best. Stay home, be safe, and thank you. And this is the end of lesson matter. Thank you, students.